The Artist's Toolkit, a training program for the artistic process, problems, background, and exercises.
Hello and welcome to the third session of the Artist's Toolkit. This is Kaethe Wenzel, and the subject today is how to find your own subjects, your own topics, the stuff that deeply concerns you. This is, of course, a question that normally is most important for beginners, because working as an artist also means to define your own tasks, to make your own assignments, and to develop and produce an artistic expression for things that you are concerned about and that are important to you and maybe also to society as a whole. So the emphasis here is on finding, because of course you all have topics, you all have areas of expertise, you all have subjects that you want to work about and that concern you. And I'm sure you know a lot about this already, but now is the occasion, the moment to rediscover, to find out more about it, and maybe also to discover new ground, to discover new subjects that deeply, intuitively concern you. One method to do so is, of course, to ask you, but to be honest, I don't think this is even the best. The other method is to kind of approach this as a detective and to assume that if something is fundamentally, basically important to you, it will already be present in your life in many forms. If you have a fascination for something, for a specific color, for example, then it will be everywhere in your life. Even if you maybe haven't realized it yet, or if you have a fascination for a special type of patterns or for types of negotiation, for how people negotiate at the door and that they want to pass through a doorway, which is is especially important in times of pandemics. Then you will have photos about this and maybe sketches, and you will remember moments when you talked about this and when you had exchanges about this. That is why this time your assignment is to become an archaeologist and to look around in your own life and look for things and make things conscious and bring things to the front that you want to engage with, that you want to have an artistic discussion about. You know what? Maybe you have a fascination with stucco ceilings, or maybe you love plumbers' catalogs. I keep coming up with the plumbers' catalogs because I love them. Yeah, so I could understand that, because there's such wonderful things in there. Or you collect old knitting needles or whatever, new mechanical parts. You know, it doesn't matter at all what it is. And if it's pink hair bows, or if it is your favorite cat's whiskers, I don't care. The only thing that counts is that it's important to you. I've said that before. You should be in love. That's what counts. You need this energy, this fascination, you have to think of it all the time. You want to look at it, you want to touch it. That please. Yeah? Please develop attention for that. Gather, collect. And in order for you to develop a feeling, a sensitivity for what I'm telling you now, I ask you to please look at your stuff, look at your things. Look at your books, your movies, your photo collections, whatever, and look for clusters of themes. So, actually, today, exercise number 1 is, and you choose, look at A, favorite books, B, favorite movies, C, favorite music. You go home now, put yourself in front of your sideboard or whatever, and you look at what's there. And if that is a gigantic bookcase that you've always had, or if that is a bookcase with only 10 books that you took with you when you moved out, it doesn't matter. Look at it. If necessary, go to the public library, walk through the aisles, and make a list of all the titles you find interesting. And then you check if there are things, if there come up similarities or groups. For example, take 5 of your most favorite books of all times, or favorite movies, or pieces of your music. Is there some kind of connection? Is there a special atmosphere? Are there special motives? Is one always about someone being undercover, someone being a superhero running across the roofs in a flowing coat and striving for justice? Or is this about how somebody manages to overcome difficulties and to be A, successful, B, free, or C, loved? Or is it something entirely different? Is it something you love a lot about the setting? Do you have a special weakness for movies with specific lighting or with wonderful materials and fabrics, something that is especially sparse or that is ornamental? Just have a look, not just in terms of content. Of course, also in terms of content, is it about the environment? Is it about history? And if yes, what exactly about it? But atmosphere is also important. Please try to identify the atmosphere of something that you find fascinating, or try to put into words or also into sketches, images, what fascinates you. Don't come back and just tell me, I like fantasy. Because people do that. They come back and say, I like fantasy. Yeah, what kind of fantasy? Romantic fantasy, fantasy with elves, fantasy with dwarves, urban fantasy, whatever. Steampunk, fairies, talking mushrooms, animal fiction. What kind and what of it? Which kind of story or which kind of situation interests you? Which kind of atmosphere, also in terms of music? Do you like melancholy, thoughtful pieces? Do you like mysterious pieces? Do you like quiet pieces? Do you like something super energetic? How is what you like different from other energetic pieces? These are the questions. Please look at this and please take time. Look at this, look at books, movies, or music. Take 5 or 10 of your absolute favorites of all times and then sit down, have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or a glass of water and think about what connects these. Is it the atmosphere? Is it a material? Is it a story that is being told? Is it a motive? What is it? And then please try explaining it to us in 3 sentences and try to really get at the core of this. It is, don't just make it an easy answer.
The Artist's Toolkit.
That is possibility number 1. The second assignment and the second approach is, I'm sure you all have private collections. You know what I mean? For example, when you move, you always have somewhere a box with things which are of no value, but which are super, super important. Stuff you never use, but you can absolutely definitely not throw it out. This can be all kind of different stuff. For example, I have a good friend who used to have a box full of keys. And I didn't get it, and I still don't get it, what was so important for him. But he's had them for 25 years. They cannot be thrown out. They are important. I don't know why, and I don't have to. But for him, it is basically fundamentally important. And maybe I should ask him if he can put it into words. And that's also the question to you. If you have this kind of collection, do you have a box under your bed with treasures you collected as a child? Or do you maybe collect different types of sand or cups or eyes of dolls or dead insects? Or do you collect prostheses, fake eyes? Do you use pads with makeup on them? I don't care. But please tell me what about this is interesting to you and why exactly. Please be precise. For example, the thing with the keys. Are these keys to some specific kind of lock? Are they, I don't know, are these keys from the doors in the home of his ancestors? Or do you like the idea that potentially he can open every lock he will come across? Or does he like the idea that in case something at home at some point doesn't open, he always has a substitute key that may do the job? Or is it about something like freedom and access? Or are these specific keys? Are they all inherited from his grandma? Does it connected him with his history or something? I don't know. Or does he just like old keys? Yeah, well, they have all different surfaces and textures and interesting, intricate shapes and ornaments, and every key is completely different. And then in one place, this is smooth, and in another place, it is rough because it's always being touched in the same place, and it hasn't in the other, and so on. Something like that. And here again, have a look at it. Look at it. Material, atmosphere, history. What is it? What interests you? And number 3, third approach, and the third assignment is places. Please sit down and take a little time. Do it in the evening. Make it cozy. I don't know, when you're having a bath, or you have your feet on a heating pad, or you're petting your dog, or whatever. And then please think about it. What kind of place do you feel drawn to, or that you find fascinating, that is special to you? This can also be about objects like the key. And I don't mean, I don't mean just say, oh, my favorite place in the world is Rome because I love being there on holiday or so. Or my favorite place is Playa de la whatever because I enjoy being by the beach because it's beautiful. Yes, that is important too. But it should be something like, one of my favorite places is the inner courtyard of a building in town, in the street of something, because it is mysterious, or because you feel like you're entering a different time zone, or because you cannot see what's happening in the beginning, but when you walk in, it's like walking into a process and it develops while you walk through it. And that is exciting. It is an exciting event to walk through it because you walk from one surprise to the next, because there are always new developments, because not everything is obvious at the first sight. Or it could be, I like the materials, I like the surfaces. Or it could be, I have positive memories about this place. See, take your time, and again, please be specific. And maybe we can reduce it, we can cut it down a bit. So please don't take something like, my favorite place is New York, too big. I want you to tell me favorite places, corners, street crossings, points, something where you say favorite place. Like, that's in my grandma's garden in the back, because that is so quiet there, and there's a huge tree which I have known all my life, and there's a special quiet green atmosphere where I have ideas and I'm feeling inspired and kind of protected at the same time. Or my favorite place is here around the corner where all the skaters meet, because there is a special atmosphere. There are graffiti, there are exciting people, you always can meet someone. I enjoy sitting there and looking at people and imagining where everybody may have been before, and I feel as if without moving I am part of the entire world. So please, don't take a city, don't take an entire city, take a street corner about that size, that dimension.
Exercise.
Okay, to sum it up, your assignment until our next meeting in a fortnight is A, please look at your collections. And that is 1, look at your books, movies or music. That is 2, collections. Those are your secret treasures, small stuff, whatever that may be. Something that you're keeping somewhere in your cupboard or under your bed, what you never use, but what is still important. Please look at those, see what you find there. And number 3, places. And not your favorite place for vacation, to go on vacation, but very specific, a few square meters, a street corner, a favorite place in the attic, behind the house, in the park. And please describe this exactly. So please have a look at these 3 perspectives, collect them, analyze them, and always remember, what do they have in common? Is there something they have in common? Maybe there's several clusters or several groups of things that fascinate you. Is it in terms of material. So is it abundant material, or is it rather sparse, or what's there? What is there that fascinates you, that speaks to you? Are there special shapes that keep coming up? And something like atmosphere that is also connected to what the light is like, or also to history, and also to stories. What kind of story is being told here that is important to you? So, to sum it up, look at textures, surfaces, material, atmosphere, history, stories. Please look at these things very closely and try to isolate something like a principle. Please, if you feel like making a mind map, do this. Write it down, write down terms, collect little drawings, collect sketches, collect photographs, and then make groups. And then see if you can see patterns emerge, if you can see groups emerged. And that's one way of finding things which fascinate you deeply and which are already present in your life at many corners, in the truest sense of it, and in many instances. So, 3 assignments. Look at collections, books, movies, music. Look at secret collections, like useless objects that are important to you. And look at places. Not vacation places, but a few square meters that are of importance to you. And then try to analyze, try to see if these places have something in common or several things in common. Try to find out what is important to you, what fascinates you about these places, or books, or collections. And then we'll take it from there.
The Artist's Toolkit. Conceptualized and presented by Kaethe Wenzel. Assistance, Nadia Driller. A project by European University Flensburg.